You're not a robot, are you? Melissa Meiste here from Nephew Physical Therapy to talk about rotation. I spent a lot of years working inside of a health club as I started to grow Nephew Physical Therapy, and I saw a lot of individuals pushing weights, moving weights, exercising, either going forward or backwards or side to side. Those motions, while very important, aren't entirely functional. Unless you are a robot that only moves forwards and only moves sideways, great, do those things. But as a human, rotation is, let's say, almost every activity you do in life. Getting in and out of the car requires strength and rotation. Emptying the dishwasher, unloading the washing machine, getting out of bed. The list goes on and on and on of things that require rotation. That's not including almost every single activity or hobby that you like to do for fun. We're talking about softball, tennis, basketball, fishing, hunting, gardening, you name it, it requires rotation. Rotation is the motion that if you were to cut your body along a horizontal plane, it is motion that moves along that. So, me rotating my arm in and out, rotating my head, rotating my trunk, rotating my hips. All of those things requires rotation. Best example of this is, of course, dancing, where hips are rotating, everything's flying, moving around. Rotation, combinations of motion to create something beautiful, to create something functional, so that you can do the things in life that you need to do. With that, we have two major muscle groups in our body that are often neglected. In the shoulder, we find neglect and a lot of weakness in the rotator cuff. And the rotator cuff, so to speak, of the hips is actually the obturators. Obturator internus and externus. They are responsible for rotation in the hips. So again, unless you only walk forwards or sideways, you need strength and rotation. That also gives me a chance here to take a little rabbit trail as I talk to you runners out there. Runners, I admire you. You're committed. You love that adrenaline rush that you get from a good run. You'll run in the rain and the snow and the sleet. But what we often see with runners is they only have time for running, for going forward. They don't often spend much time strengthening sideways, let alone in rotation. So when we're not strong in rotation of either the rotator cuff in the shoulder or the obturators in the hip, lots of pain patterns and compensation can start to develop. Instead of using our hips for rotation, we'll overutilize our quads. Instead of utilizing our rotator cuff in our shoulders, we'll start to use the neck and roll forward in our chest. We need these muscles of rotation to hold our two most stable joints, the shoulder and the hips, in ideal alignment so that everything else works better. So ultimately, as we go through a rehab, whether we're talking about shoulders, hips, back, knees, or elbows, we know that that final component in the strength journey from going forwards to sideways ends at rotation and ultimately functional strengthening. So if you're not great at doing rotation, check out more of our YouTube videos as we share with you tips on how to strengthen your rotator cuff, strengthen those hips, or check out our tips below if you're checking out our newsletter. Again, this is Melissa Meiste from Nephew Physical Therapy reminding you that your health is your responsibility and those muscles of rotation are counting on you. So do something about it.